Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Ordinary Council meeting of 16th of December 2025, the calendar year. Attendances, apologies, and approved leave of absence. We have a full team here today. Fantastic. Declarations of interest. Councillors, I want to remind you, I haven't got any declarations, but if you recognise you've got interest that we go through. I thought we did that at the end of the meeting.
Oh, okay, sorry.
So I do. Yeah, so your application, bring that forward at the end of the meeting. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President. Once again, councillors, if you recognise you've got an interest, please bring it up as we go through. Public question time. Is there any questions from the public? Questions from the public. Thank you. Questions taken on notice from the previous meeting. There were nil. Sorry, I jumped in there. Did that wrong way around. Confirmation and receiving of the minutes. The minutes 4.1 minutes of the ordinary council meeting on the 25th of November 2025. I move it, please. Councillor Farina. Councillor Skender seconded that. Councillors, is there any debate on that item or discussion? Being discussion that's adopted unanimously, 8-0. Thank you. Item 4.2 minutes of the Major Projects and Infrastructure Committee. They move it, please. Councillor Kelly. Seconded, please. Councillor Young. Once again, councillors, is there any debate? Discussion. Being no debate or discussion, that's adopted unanimously. 8-0. Mrs. Hill, thank you very much. Announcements by the President without discussion. Councillors, I'd like to extend our, I hope all of us, condolences to the people of Bondi for the unfortunate incident that's occurred over there on the weekend. It has changed the face of Australia forever. My heart goes out to everybody over there, and I hope you all feel the same way. So, is that one at that? Presentations, petitions and memorials. Friends of Bibbulwara Board. Naomi McMahon. Thank you, Naomi.
Thank you, Council. So this project started approximately 3 years ago with a crazy idea from myself. And then we formed a Aboriginal corporation. The current members are Stephanie Perry. We have Camille Mallard from WACS, West Australian Country Health Services Mental Health. We have Roberta Ryan from West Australian Country Health Services Community Drug and Alcohol. We have Nikki Ebner, who is our independent director, who is also with WACS, West Australian Country Health Services, who is an SNR3 senior registered nurse, mental health specialist. I also come with a background of mental health. I had also previously been a statewide specialist in Aboriginal mental health. We have Tina Ryan, who's out at the Water Corp. We have Nadine Brown, who's at the Horizon Power. We have Leanne Ryan, who was also up at WACS. So we come with a wealth full of skills as Indigenous people in the community in the town. We're all local here. We're all born here. We actually come from a whole line of main roads families. So we built the roads, these girls and our families, we built the roads up here through the Northwest. So I had to find a group that would be up for a bit of a jig. We already did a few things around town, like a cultural awareness quiz night. Then we followed up with a country and western night about bringing the community together as a whole. Those were very fruitful events for the community. And then we thought we could actually do more. So we have earmarked this project as one that we will do instead of doing the little things that we used to do. because we believe that community cohesion is our only way forward in town. And if we, as the Indigenous people in this town, do not stand up and lead and show the other people what we should be doing, we're not going to move. So as people of the community, as First Nations women, we feel that it's up to us to actually lead the community in the right direction with those morals, those values, and those behaviours that we all cherish. So the Bibbulwarra Bore project came into fruition 3 years ago. It took me the last 3 years to do the paperwork of incorporating the Aboriginal Community Controlled Organisation. We are set up as a not-for-profit, so anything that will come into the organisation will be dispersed back into the community. So we thought that there was an absolutely wonderful project there within the Bibbulwarra Bore Hot Springs, which is about a 30-minute, probably 20-minute drive from Carnarvon. It has the gorgeous area out there. It has a lot of potential. I'll just flip to the first slide. So there we have the Friends of Bibbulwarra Bore group that have a keen interest and many great ideas. However, there is also great ideas from the community interest. And in this area, we would like to run a community brainstorming to gather ideas about the people, would like to see out there the vision for the area and how it could be used, how they think it could work and how it could be funded. It will need every careful facilitation or it could end up being very non-productive. So we're thinking about the positives and the negatives through our project. So Bibbulwarra Bore, we went through and did the visual concept and the estimated costs of construction. The construction costs estimated outlined in table 1 are based on the estimates provided by contractors in the region, published secondary data, stakeholders from similar back facilities in the region, and from the multidisciplinary property development consulting business with extensive experience on developments of a similar nature and scale. We have been successful in actually getting 2 funding sources to pay for our business case. So we've actually chosen to go with the provider that was engaged by WA Tourism to do the hot springs analysis report. So go back with Kim Hewsons. We'll be doing our business case. Once we have our business case, we will then be able to leverage for those funds that we need to progress the project. So we've looked at the plant and equipment that we need. We've looked at costing. We've looked at feasibility studies. We've looked at the different interpretations that we could possibly have. We've looked at the site being a renewable site. So we've had Richard Scorp from GDC come out and start doing the analysis of the water management plan. We've also had the site this year visually scanned by the drone, and we have that data now. We have, what else have we done? We've done a hell of a lot, but I have been very crook this year, so I must apologise for not coming last meeting. Looking at it being a sustainable site, obviously, we've just released out on the social media the Survey Monkey, so we'll be able to give that data to Kim from the community. So that just went live the other day. So you'll probably get that all through everybody's work, just for some feedback from the community. So they looked at interpretation space, they looked at bathroom, change room facilities, shelters, solar power or geothermal, CCTV, and the estimated construction costs around that. We've looked at the Bibbulwarra Bore proposed visual concept. So the estimated construction costs, the construction cost estimated outlined in table 1 are based on the estimated provided by the contractors. But obviously now this is like 2 years old, so there will be some adjustments to those costings. But obviously we'll have those revised when we put out the new business case. So the Bibbulwarra Bore proposed visual concept, estimated construction costs and summaries. Quite a large project, as you can see. The estimated communal, like communal, I can't cumulative capital costs to develop the Bibbulwarra Bore site. Obviously quite large numbers, but we will be able to leverage, I believe, the costs out there and do some alternative funding arrangements. So obviously we're looking at fencing control, access points, interpretation spaces, bathroom changes, CTCT, lighting. Costs do not include any of the interpretation around the site, providing education, history, significance of the site, interpretation at entrance, providing terms and conditions of use, roadway costs, as currently there exists a well-graded road from the Bibbulwarra Road to the crossing. The Bibbulwarra Bore proposed visual concept estimated revenue table is number 2, outlines the revenue income estimated for the Bibbulwarra Bore site based on the proposed design concept. It has been developed following consultation with the Shire of Carnarvon, Friends of Bibbulwarra Bore, comparing projects of similar nature and scale, stakeholders from similar facilities in the region and from multidisciplinary properties. Development consultation business with extensive experience on development in similar natures and scale. There we have the visual concept estimated revenue summary. This one here is we had a look at the proposed visitations of the Hot Springs Bore. Had a look at the revenue we could possibly have come back in. We had a look at the extensions of holidays off into those shoulder areas that we have here in the Gascoyne. So we've had a pretty good look at our project quite extensively. We've been in partnership with the Ingada Aboriginal Corporation. Obviously, our group does not consist of any traditional owners, but we are all First Nations women from Carnarvon born, and we do have a relationship with Ingada, which has been very fruitful. So that is the presentation of the proposed Bibbulwarra Bore site at present. So we're just going through the community engagement process at the moment, collecting data from the community on what they perceive as the best proposals for the site. We want to work in collaboration with community, with First Nations people, and with the GDC and the Shire and YAC, Ingada Aboriginal Corporation. They're the outcomes that we intend to deliver. And the outputs, so a diverse and creative design that fits the ground experience and actual use of the area. A clear visualization of the future state of the bore, consensually agreed by the community and the stakeholders to inform our design. A clear statement of the function of the development of the bore to make sure it meets the aspirations of our community. A way of constructing and operating the development of the bore is consensually supported by community and stakeholders. Document and transparency and accountability process to assist marketing and legitimacy. So that's us. Any questions? I do believe I'll do more next year because I won't be so crook.
Good on you, Naomi. Look,
Just the temperature, Naomi, it's all excellent. Congratulations, well done. Just that over many years, there's been quite nasty accidents with the water up there, because I think it's about 62 degrees Celsius.
A lot of scalded dogs.
A lot of scalded dogs and a few people with burnt feet.
Yes.
As you know, so I just noticed in those design concept though that it's open, so there will have to be some sort of Anyway, just I'm sure you're on it. I just thought I'd raise it.
No, it won't be open. They were just some visuals that we had done. I go back.
fantastic work.
Obviously, those will change with the consultation and feedback that will come back from the community, because we want to deliver something that the community has built.
Yeah.
We don't, personally have any ideas at what we want to do there. It's about us all working together to make this happen. And yeah, 62 sheets. Nice and warm.
I've seen a few dogs that come out with no hair on them.
Seen a few dogs die too, unfortunately.
Thank you so much. No, it's fantastic work. I look forward to seeing it come to fruition. I really do.
We'd love an MOU with a little bit more time this time because that last one was a little quick. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Councillors. Departmental report straight into it. Item 7.1.1 actions performed under delegated authority for the month of November and December.
What's not?
Councillor P. Maslin. Seconder, please, Councillor Farina. Is there any debate or discussion, councillors? Being no debate or discussion, that's adopted unanimously, 8-0. Bill. Item 7.1.2, status of council decisions, December 2025. And this one's for noting councillors, so I'll have a mover, please. Councillor Burke Maslin. And seconded by Councillor Kelly. Councillors, is there any debate or discussion? Being no debate or discussion, that's adopted unanimously. Mrs. Hill, thank you. 8-0. Item 7.1.3, minutes of the Gascoyne Country Zone meeting. This one is for receiving. Councillors, so mover, please, Councillor Kelly, thank you. Seconder, please, Councillor Skender. Councillors, is there any debate? Let's debate. No debate, discussion, questions. Hill, thank you, councillors. That's adopted unanimously. Mrs. Hill, 8-0. Item 7.1.4, minutes of the Gascoyne Regional Road Group meeting. Receiving these minutes, mover, please, Councillor Maslin. Seconder, please, Councillor Farina. Councillors, is there any debate, discussion, or questions?
I'll just ask that question. Please.
Yes.
It's just in 10 minutes. You take on notice, that's fine. It's just about page 91 for the Shire Card, the update. Just in regards to the French Street project, where that is headed long term. It says the French Street Crowbar is being formally requested for the 2-year program due to the rise in power light installed. So just in a couple of days, if that's right, just need an update on that. As in with the road to
Thank you. I think this is no further questions about nothing. That's adopted unanimously. Thank you, Mrs. Hill. 8-0. Councillors, the 7.1.5, the commercial agreement, revised draft funding agreement with DG Corp. Have a mover, please. Councillor Kelly, please. Second, I'll put your hand up, Councillor Sutherland. Thank you. Councillors, is there any debate, questions on this item?
President, is there any update or likely date mooted for them to start over there? I know all this moving around, but it's a bit like a mirage.
It's just moving.
Through the chair, at this point in time, this needs to be signed off. We're hoping to have that done before the 25th of December. And once that occurs, DG Corp has until March to pull together all of their documents and their sureties and those sorts of things, and to provide us with a construction plan. And through that process, we are supposed to deliver the project by June 2027. And that is what we're working to, and that is why the 25th of December being signed off is actually quite a key milestone for us.
Right, sorry, the completion date estimated or aimed for June 2027.
The grant itself requires that to be the
Right,
project
sorry.
completion.
Thank you.
Yes, not so much a question, just want to say thank you for providing us a copy of the contract here. There was just numerous things in there that I believe that we needed to look at. Some of them being the dynamics of the bank guarantee, the operation and the conditions upon which we can call upon that if required, also insurance requirements, and also the payment schedule along with the money we're forwarding, then what exactly are, what portion of that development are we funding? So it's clarified in there, that's building two. I needed to know, and thank you very much for that copy. Thank you.
Thank you, councillor Skinner. Any further comments for council? No further comments, councillors. There is no debate, so that's adopted unanimously. 8-0. Thank you, Mrs. Hill. Item 7.1.6, House of Representatives invitation to make a submission for local government funding and fiscal sustainability. Councillor, still have a moment, please. Councillor Kelly. Second, please. Okay, Southern Muslim. Councillors, is there any debate for discussion? This item. Yep, Councillor Skinner.
Yeah, so good luck. Thank you. Page 110. What would be the process to make a small amendment to the submission? Is that I'll make this? Yeah,
Depending on how much it changes.
yeah, so it's just one sentence in there. So page 110 in regards to the sort of third box down, basically the terms of reference, examine local government own source revenue. So the second sentence under the issue, so it says that Shire of Carnarvon currently reviewing its rate strategy, and one of the proposed foundation principles is that the highest reasonable rate levels ought to be considered as part of each budget. I just at this stage I would like that to be a little bit more neutral in terms of rates where we're headed with that, because of my stance previously with the budget and rates increases. I can understand the message we're trying to send the federal government here, but I'd like that to be a little bit more neutral. So either have that sentence deleted or just remove the word highest. It's another option. So maybe that we're trying to actually be responsible.
Councillors, before we go any further, might be a good time to suspend standing orders and discuss this. So can I have a move to suspend councillor Skinner? Seconder, please. Councillor Young. All those in favour? Thank nil. Thank you, Mrs. Hill.
Sorry, I didn't prepare an alternate sentence in that Sunday.
Yeah.
So just through the chair, if we're good to go. I suppose one of the things there is its interpretation. So where you're coming from, I think is actually covered by that, in that it's the highest reasonable rate levels ought to be considered. So if you perceive at a certain time that the rate level can only be CPI or etc., then that's your highest, that's council's highest reasonable rate level. So that's where we're coming from, is that what is reasonable to each community. And then going forward, that means that, you know, the government might turn around and say that Carnarvon should actually be raising this amount of money, but the council's made a decision that this is what's reasonable for its community. So that was actually the point of that sentence.
I think, and I agree with you. I think the issue is the interpretation, and that's one I'd like maybe to just really it's the word highest that I have the issue with. So because members of public government, other people may have issue with it. So
Also, yes,
the most responsible rate levels ought to be considered.
I think that's
on that highest,
responsible mates.
more neutral. And I believe we're going into some strategy workshops, so rates and reserves. I think Mr. Harley is doing something with that. But until then, I think just a more neutral approach in that regard would be for.
Yeah, so councillors Kelly and Matt, are you supportive of that change? Yeah. Change that wording in that paragraph. Is there any further items on this agenda item that we should discuss
On this agenda item.
on this agenda item? And those someone move that we go back into the standing orders, please. Councillor Kelly, councillor Skender, all those in favour? Unanimously, Mrs. Hill, thank you. The councillors, we have the standing motion on the books without change, other than the change to one word in page 110, the third block of statements there. Are all clear on that? Okay, fantastic. So councillors, is there any debate or discussion on that now? There being no debate or discussion on that now, that's adopted unanimously, Mrs. Hill, 8-0. Thank you very much. Councillors, item 7.1.7 submissions, beyond waste 2030 strategy and roadmap. Move it, please. Councillor Farina. Second, please, councillor Kelly. Councillors, is there any debate, questions, comments on this item?
Just an observation, if I might, Mr. President. This item, agenda item, as you know, has been around for 40 years. The council, the original thing of local government was registration rubbish. So it's one of the original nucleus of local government responsibility. Reading all the paraphernalia of supporting documents for this is a regurgitation of what I've seen on numerous occasions, and I'm not saying we shouldn't be doing it. In fact, we should revisit these things regularly, which we are doing. But just on the face of it, for all the reasons that are put in the information on this item, is I don't know how much further we can go at this particular state in time because of our scale of operation. And the reason I'm saying this, for no other reason, I'm not pitching anyone suck eggs, is that we've got limited time to do lots of important things. And when we do revisit some of these things, I think we need to review it. But if there's not much chance of it going ahead, just put it for the next 3 years or 4 years when it'll come up again, because it's going to cost us. Otherwise, unless we can make it balance, I don't think in any way we as a council can justify imposing the cost of it on our community. Thank you.
Councillor Dudley Maslow. That's an observation or speaking for or against the motion. I respect more for the motion, but councillor, I would like to say there's been a significant amount of work gone into this. I think it covers off on a lot of important areas, but I think in line with what Councillor Maslin was saying, it is time to do something different. We have been banging away for the last, that I know of, 20 years at the same old things. And we have all these big words to cover off on what we're going to do and how we're going to do it. Let's look at doing, and it's referred to in this document in a way, it's referred to it, is doing something different, doing something in a way that will make a substantial change to our waste streams. That's what we've got to look at. We've got to start thinking outside the square. And I've seen, and I'll just use this as an example, council, as to why my thinking is like this. 16 years ago, I went from sending produce to Perth in throwaway cardboard cartons, which generated a huge amount of waste. It really did. And that year we sent our fruit to Perth in fold up plastic trays, reusable plastic trays, which were used time and again. Yes, there was freight backwards and forwards, But those rates were used. I've lost count how many times that we used them and other growers used them. There was no waste generated at all. So is there ways we can put forward? And yet there will be a cost, I know that. But if we're reducing our waste, is that cost worth it? What I'm trying to say, people, is let's think outside the square. Let's think of how we can do something totally different that is affordable, but reduces our waste. Because if we, what's that old saying, is if you keep doing the same thing and expect a different reaction, and that's not. Thank you, councillors. Are there any further comments on this item? No further comments. Councillors, there's no debate, so councillors, it's adopted unanimously. Thank you, Mr. Bill. 0. Item 7.1.8, the appointment of councillors to committee. Councillors, would you like to, due to some comments I've had from other councillors, would you like to suspend standing orders and discuss this? Councillor Young. Councillor second, please. Councillor Kelly. All those in favour? That's adopted unanimously, Mrs. Hill. Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with the guys going on committee, but what I personally think is there's these two important committees. Everybody, all the councillors should be on that committee. So basically, what I'm asking is all the councillors be adopted to each one of those committees. Is what I'm, and that's where I think it should go. Because I mean, at the end of the day, by the time we add another two, we've only got two other councillors sitting on the sidelines. And I think everybody, they're important committees that we need to be all a part of. And I actually think, personally, I think the projects, major projects ones, all the councillors should be on that as well. So that's what I think.
Would you consider that it would be, no, not yet, because we're only discussing it.
We're only discussing it at the moment.
Would you consider that if councillors didn't want to be on it, they could?
That's fine. I don't have it
So
yet.
what you're suggesting is the option for all councillors
Councillors be a part.
So is it on just, because I have had a councillor suggest that the audit, risk and improvement, the CEO performance review and major projects.
They're the three committees I think everybody should have an opportunity to be.
So everybody knows. So councillors, do you want to discuss this further here or go back into standing orders and then someone can put forward a amendment to the motion?
There's no maximum. There's no maximum.
Is there a maximum tied to this or?
Through the chair, no, committees are designed to be a second level of oversight, and purpose of a committee is that you drill down and that you spend more time in it, and then it still comes back to council for another level of oversight. So there's nothing stopping all members from being on it. There's a minimum number, but it is designed that those that have, if you look at a number of the committees across Western Australia, it's designed that those that have particular interests or skill sets, etc., really delve down into that, and then someone else delves down into the other, and then it comes back to council for further consideration. And it's considered to have two very, clear, distinct passes at it. So you're welcome to put every councillor on it. It's just hopefully we still give it the same impetus that is the reason for having a committee and not just having workshops and talking to you all as a group.
I'm not preempting what Mark's thinking, but I think everyone in this room brings different things to committees, and I think everyone has different skills and different strengths and different weaknesses. So I think from what you're saying, Mark, it's probably, I'm assuming it's going to bring more and allow people to drill down, because if you've got two people on there with two sets of strengths, then there's a whole lot of others there that have things that they're not bringing it to the table. And I imagine that not everyone's going to be able to make every
Agnes.
every meeting, but it also means that we have information as well when we're out in the public domain in terms of where things stand and what's happening, especially with the major projects.
Through the chair, if I just understand correctly what's being said, we're saying that all councillors are co-opted and considered to be on there, or we'll choose the names, because we need to be very mindful for the governance and the terms of reference and structure of the committee.
So with the structure of the committee, 3 people are already on it. Is that correct? Those 3 people vote for what's happening or? how does-
Well, what happens is it's accepted and there's information given. So we have a independent chair and an independent deputy on the audit and risk committee, and they lead the committee, and the information is given and it's received by the audit and risk, and then it is recommended that council adopt it. These committees have no power. They are reviewing committees. And so then they review the documents and then it comes to council for adoption. So it's, as I said, it's had some level of oversight and review, and then the whole of council always adopt what comes out of the committee. There is no delegation to the committee to make a decision.
I'm up to what everybody wants to do.
So for example, the Performance Management Review Committee, I think is quite specific in terms of, I don't know what the there's a WOGA course, that's available, so people understand what performance management process is. Just a suggestion that probably everyone should go through that again, either again or for a first time, because I think it's really important, and it's, to be fair and equitable, it's good for people to understand what that process looks like and what needs to be adhered to, and all the different processes and protocols that need to be followed. Especially for a CEO, who it's important. Just a comment.
With on that note, with the council has historically now utilised a consultant to run the process of engaging new CEOs. So that process is then overseen by the Management Review Committee. Yeah, but that has changed, but to a certain extent.
Yeah, there's new statutory
Yeah,
requirements
right.
about how we go about that, and
Yeah.
even whether you have against an independent person on that committee, etc. So we have been having it led by a consultant, and that will be up to the group again. But yes, I mean, as I said, the Performance Review Committee as well, which is now what they're called in the new regs, is a body that oversees and then makes recommendation to council. Doesn't make any decisions at that committee. There's no delegated power to the committee. It's where it's worked through and then it comes to council for adoption.
And that is important. Everything that comes out of the 3 committees are purely recommendations, which are
Well, if that's the case, you can keep it how it is if you want to move that way, but it's up to everybody in the room, really. I mean,
yeah.
I think as long as all the councillors are involved on in some way or form, because I think it's important.
Yeah, all of council make the decision. The committees put forward a recommendation. And then council assess that recommendation and make the decision.
I just looked at it from the perspective that by the time you finish and you add another 2 people on it, might as well have everybody on it. So
Yeah, look at that, and I understand what you're
that's what I
saying,
was looking at.
and I think then council also has the opportunity to be fully aware of everything that's involved. So it's up to the council if they wish to have that level of understanding of the whole process. Then council can then vote for that if that's what council wish for.
And understanding process would be right for
Just to continue with what you've got.
so young to put forward a shadow motion or something along the
Yeah.
lines of your idea of adding more councillors to those 3 committees, and we go put something to that regard, and then we go back into sessions and then vote. Either one.
So may I suggest,
So by doing that, it's not an amendment, so it gives councillors an option. You've got two options there.
so councillors, I think.
So do you want to,
You need to adopt, you don't have two options.
No, can I just put something forward, councillors, if you wish to even discuss it further here. If we can put forward an alternative motion. So when I call for the officer's recommendation, someone to move it. So I'm going to stand up and move an alternative motion. That will include 3 committees. So the Audit, Risk and Improvement, the Executive Officer Performance Review Committee and the Major Projects Committee. Then if councillors adopt that, and then just trying to think of neatest way to do this, whereas if councillors don't want to be on those committees, they can put their hand up and say, I don't want to be on there. And that's probably going to be then, if we can, if that's council's of an idea to do that.
That's the question. You know, we've nominated people for committee, but all councillors can attend that personally if they want to. You know what I mean?
oh, okay.
You can, it's not saying you can't come to this because you're not on the list.
Yeah.
You can sit there and sit in on all of it. You know what I mean? I just sort of think we're overworking this a little bit. You know what I mean?
Well, so really, I mean, we may as well just leave it as it is and then everybody can attend.
Councillor Skender, Councillor Kelly want to be nominated specifically to go on those committees because they don't want it. But that's if they want to be on the committee, but it's not going to be sitting in on that committee anyway.
So everybody can go.
Everyone, got every,
Well, then yes, but then that means that all councillors will need to be invited. But if they don't attend, it doesn't matter.
There's still not quorums and potential.
there's an
Committee voting. Potential.
Through the chair, there is. So there's, so who is the actual members are the voters?
Yeah.
But it was like the other day, we actually had people at the meeting, at the ordinary risk meeting that were extra. And so we said we had observers, councillor, such and such and such and such. So that'll be on the minutes and it'll be that you were in the room. There's no problem in that regard.
Just for a clarification of observers, they are observers, they don't participate in the meeting, so that's the only drawback. And it's not to say that it doesn't work. I had it previously nominated for the review committee, but in amongst the what happened in the meeting, it sort of got away and must admit, I think I was the first comer off the rank. I'd also like to just pick up on a comment that Councillor Beard made, and particularly relevant, I believe, to the CEO performance. Is that people, because it's such a changing dynamic, the way people are managed, it would be almost incumbent upon the people on that committee to actually do the regular training. And CPD is something that is encouraged within the Act. So just like to put that out there.
So just picking up on what Councillor Naslin said. I think there is a point of difference because one is you're an observer. If you go onto the committee, you can contribute. It's quite a significant difference, I think.
Change it. So-
Yeah.
And then a major.
Someone else. Yeah, like you
And then
said,
just say that-
I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah, so we're only adding.
Oh, no, no. Yeah, but-
Councillors, councillors, can I have your attention, please? Madam CEO has put forward a very good idea, I think. I think councillors, we, instead of moving alternative motions or changing motions or whatever, that we stay with the existing motion. We add a dot point 3 major projects committee. Still, you want to just put that on there. And then what we'll do is item the dot point 1. I'll call for councillors that wish to be on that committee. Then we'll go and we'll name those people and make sure we get it right. Item then dot point 2, we'll ask for councillors that wish to be included in that committee.
Yeah.
And then, and so if you're already on those committees, I think you don't need to put your hands up. We're just including further members on the 3 committees. So if you wish to be on that, and then there's no, I can't remember who's on all of the, who's on the projects one. No, yeah, so everybody should know which committees they're on. So if you want to be added to one of those committees, so when we get back into standing orders, if someone moves the motion with an add point 3 major projects committee, and then we'll ask councillors to put up their hand if they wish to be on those committees that aren't, if you're not already on that committee. Is councillors happy with that idea? Unless you, if you're tending to go that way, it might be quicker and easier if people put their hands up now and we put the names forward. No, we can't do that. We'll do it in the actual in standing orders. So could I have a move where we go back in standing orders, please? Councillor Young, Councillor Kelly. All those in favour? Unanimous. Thank you, Mrs. Hill. So thank you for the discussion, councillors. Do I have a mover for the officer's recommendation? Councillor B. Maslin.
With the amended motion.
Yeah. Yes, you are.
Yeah, well, that'd be
Well,
good.
so we're going to just, we're going to amend the current motion.
You're amending.
And
Amending dot point.
Yep.
So the amendment will include dot point 3.
Major problem.
A seconder, please. Councillor Young. Right, councillors, so with dot point 3 in place, with councillor Luke Skender is going to be, and dot point 1, Luke Skender's already got his hand up for being on the audit and risk committee, audit risk and improvement committee. Is there anybody else want to be included in that committee?
Can I just confirm then through the chair that currently then that would mean that we have President Eddie Smith, we have, plus we have our independent members, and then we have President Eddie Smith, we have Councillor Paul Kelly and Councillor Mark Young, and now Councillor Luke Skender on the Audit and Risk Committee.
Further councillors? No further councillors. Item 2, which is the Office of Chief CEO Performance Review Committee.
So through the chair, currently we have President Eddie Smith, who's the presiding member. We have Councillor Burke Maslin, we have Councillor Dudley Maslin, we have Councillor Luke Skender. So Councillor Paul Kelly will be added to the mix.
Will be added. Is there anybody else? Councillor Young. Councillor Beard. Councillor Farina. Does it agree?
That's all councillors.
Okay, all councillors on 2.3 major projects.
So through the chair, we currently have President Eddie Smith as the presiding member. We have Councillor Burke Maslin, we have Councillor Dudley Maslin, we have Councillor Beard, we have Councillor Kelly, and we have Councillor Young.
Councillor Skender wishes. Councillors, we're all clear as mud on that. Mrs. Hill, you've got it up there. Okay. Councillors, Do we have any debate? Being no further debate. Let's declare, that's adopted unanimously, Mr. Sills, 8-0. Thank you very much, councillors. Councillors, item 7.1.9, the 2024-25 Shire of Carnarvon Annual Report. Have a mover, please. Councillor Kelly. Councillor Arena. Councillors, is there any debate or discussion or questions on this item?
I'd like to just mention within the report, I don't know if we need to move standing orders. But in the annual report, there is actually the only mention of Coral Bay is in the first paragraph. There's no mention in the rest of the audit report of any projects or anything that's happening in Coral Bay. And the RAC Resort just spent $70 million, which is one of the biggest projects within the region, and yet there's no mention of it at all. I just think that it needs to be. We're all, Coral Bay is part of the Carnarvon community or the Shire, and there just needs to be some sort of mention of it in the system. That's what I'm saying.
Through the chair, I think take that on board, and we certainly are moving to change things up. I think that it's indicative at the minute of what has been happening in Coral Bay. The RAC isn't our project, and we've done very little to support it in many ways. So it hasn't been raised as a work of ours, which is the annual report. So at the moment, the annual report does highlight our successes that we've achieved as a council, and it meets our statutory obligations. Going forward, if we had built the War Memorial, if we can increase our range of services, we can do those sorts of things, then that would be what we would talk about, and we would celebrate what we've been doing there. But I think at the minute, you're quite right, it indicates that we're not doing probably enough.
Sorry.
Comment. I agree with what councillor Young's saying, because I think there is a way that we could put something in there, bearing in mind that potential investors will go to, well, this is one of the documents they'll go to. So if they see in there that RAC have $70 million spend, it is a very positive outcome. And I think there's a way to weave it in. We would have done some work in terms of planning, and clearly something we would have had to have done some work with RAC. The other thing that I noticed is that we maybe could have considered putting in tourism conference. That's something that they got over the line as being a positive. I just think this document, we need to not underestimate the number of people that go to it, to have a look at what's been happening in terms of investing money in the region.
And through the chair, look, it is a complex one when you're doing it, because it ends at the 30th of June, and we didn't have confirmation at that time. So there are some things that just do not hit it, because it is a 30th of June document, and it's for the year, and it is sadly the delay that comes out with the Auditor General now. I mean, back in the day, we used to try and get these finished by the 30th of September, and then we used to actually hold our annual electors meeting in October, and then they were very relevant to the year before, and now that line crosses over quite significantly. We can take on board, and I'm sure we could look to well, it meet our statutory obligations trying to change this, and the timeframes that are in there for. I need to take that on notice and come back. Yeah. Because we, through the chair, you'll see that the document, we have timeframes from today when it's adopted as to when it needs to be advertised, and then how we hold our meetings. So I just need to understand from the team, perhaps if we could adjourn for a moment and we could talk about this as a team as to what changes we'll make, we'll do, and how we redo the document.
Adjourn rather than suspend.
Yeah, adjourn, so I can talk to the team for a quick moment and come back.
Okay, so can someone move that we adjourn for 20 minutes?
10, 15 minutes, someone
15
perhaps?
minutes, 15 minutes, councillor Kelly. Second, councillor Skinner, all those in favour? Adopted unanimously, thank you, Mrs. Hill. Farina, councillor Skansbar. We on camera? Yep, okay, thank you. Councillor Farina, councillor Skender, is there, got all those in favour? Adopted unanimously, Mr. Hill, thank you very much. So councillors, we have the officer's recommendation. Did you get a mover for that? Or I wrote down a mover and a second. Yes, so councillor Kelly and Farina, yes, I wasn't sure if they. So. Councillors, would you like those referred to again so you can consider them before agreeing to what may be put forward? Are you happy with those or do you want to hear them again?
Does everybody need to hear it again? Oh, happy to.
Happy
I'm happy with what.
Happy with those? Councillor Kelly? Okay, councillors. Therefore, is there any debate on this item? No debate, no discussion. That's adopted unanimously, Mr. Hill, 8-0. Thank you very much. That's item 7.2.1, monthly financial report. Thanks. Go back a step. Thank you, CEO, for that extra getting that done. So we move forward. Item 7.2.1, monthly financial reports. Councillors, have a move, please. Councillor B. Maslen. Second, please. Councillor Skender. Councillors, is there any debate? Councillor Kelly?
Through the chair to the CEO, the email that I got back regarding the budget variances. Is that something appropriate to be covered here at the moment?
So through the chair, councillor Kelly raised a query around whether or not the report on page was that again, councillor?
270.
270, it was stated in this report that the regional road group jobs were over budget. And so we went back and researched that, and we have found that it is an overstatement of the purchase orders. They've been recorded. There's an anomaly of that program. Yeah, so the Synergy has gone and overstated the purchase orders. And so it's only applied to that item for some reason. I think it's the way that they filled in different lines, a different officer has done it. So we have gone back to our provider and ReadyTech, who runs Synergy, and asked them to review, and we'll bring back for the December meeting, the December financials, the change and the rectification.
Just for councillors, what I was talking about there was step back to what our I guess trader covered the other week. We looked at the budget, so we had a budget figure there. The anticipated budget with purchase orders exceeded the line item by quite a bit. So we just need to be, as councillors, I guess, just need to be afraid that these things are coming to the table, because the way the Act's stated, you can't spend the money without it getting approved first. Again, if you did, with obviously reputational and financial penalties for it.
So through the chair, we will at times go over budget, but obviously we come and report that back. If there's a budget item, then and budgets and projects go over, there is a level that that can be reported in a particular way under the Act. But again, I think this absolutely proves that the oversight highlighted something that we may not have noticed until audit time, and or further reporting and drilling down at the budget review probably would have highlighted that it looked like it was over, when in actual fact they're currently under budget. So I think that is the process working, which is a very positive thing.
Thank you. Councillors, is there any debate? Further questions? Being the case, there being no debate, adopted unanimously, Mrs. Hill, 8-0. Thank you. Councillors, item 7.2.2, accounts paid under delegation for November 24. Robert Motor, please, councillor Skender. Seconder, please, councillor Kelly. Councillors, is there any debate questions?
If that's okay. Just on, look, sorry, normally I'll email this through in advance. I'm happy to take some notice. I just on page 302. FD 46215. Well, Council Brian. So, just the items that they're in the description there. So, just there's a review of number document one. Children, I'm not sure what they are. So, one is so happy to just be correct by email or something in the future. Review of land-based asset master plan funding agreement with GDC and review of 11 Marmion Street before discussions.
Through the chair at this point in time, and for the streaming, I can report that the review of land-based asset master plan funding agreement, GDC have proposed $25,000 grant to assist us to review our master plans that we currently have in place and to be working with you all on that next year under the Carnarvon Futures project. We have talked about that before, and that will see at least half of the project covered by GDC. And then that hopefully can fall into place with our strategic planning and those sorts of things. And it was very much around the, for those that are new, Paul Ferranti has been involved in Carnarvon for over 20 years. He used to work for Landcorp and then Development WA. He's now out in private consultation. He's also extensively knowledgeable in the area of the sewage for East Carnarvon. So there's a lot of positives in going back and reviewing our master plans and not chucking out anything that's of any value and quality. Marmion Street, through the chair, Stefan, what would that be pertaining to?
Which one is that? 11 months?
Yeah.
11 Marmion.
That's Mr. Zachnick's property. I think I should develop.
So have you talked to Paul Ferranti about that?
Yeah.
Information around what we've been doing with Paul and regarding
So
that?
currently with 11 Marmion, there's a development proposal or an old development proposal for that property to 17 group dwellings, which is long time ago expired, but Mr. Zachnick wants to obviously develop and is working with GDC, getting funding for infrastructure fund to sewage and water connections. So we're currently working with Mr. Zachnick on that to develop his land.
Thank you. Councillors, is there any further discussion, questions, debate? There'll be no further discussion. Right, that's adopted unanimously, Mr. Shill. 8-0, thank you. Councillors, items 7.3.1, the Shire of Carnarvon Local Cleaning Team 13 Amendment 10. Councillor Leslie, about
This is, yeah.
Is this? Yes, it is. You've got me.
I did.
Yes, sir. It's what we'll know. Probably. Thank you, councillor. Councillors, come on and move it, please. Councillor Farina. Seconder, please. Councillor Kelly. Councillors, is there any questions, comments, debate? Part of the process, but I'm not yet.
So would you like Stefan to just give you a quick overview again?
That's possible.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, fine.
Through the
Thank you.
chair, Stefan, could you just give a quick summation of where we're at, stand up and over here, thank you. Just to help bring councillors back to what we discussed at the briefing.
Yes, the chair, currently the scheme amendment's gone through advertising, scheme amendment 10, so, gone through advertising, gone through all the statutory referral authorities. There's some conversations with EPA on the amendment. They wanted some rewording to the amendment text to include, basically, just a requirement to get a ministerial statement. So that's included in the documentation. EPCA has also provided comment on the amendment, wanted to include some further modifications to the amendment, which is included as in the modification schedule. They just wanted to acknowledge that there's further surveying that needed to be required for any further development. My understanding with talking to DPLH is that that's already covered in the regulations, so it may or may not get in the proposed text. It's likely that DPLH will remove that because it's already under clause 65 of the planning regulations, which talks about everything that we need to consider as part of a application. So currently where we're at the moment is once this gets endorsed, it will be submitted to the DPLH for consideration of the modifications and then further amendments and material approval. So basically the last process in the last step in the process, and then probably have about 2 months before DPLH will make a decision on the amendment. So originally it was scheme amendment 8. DPO requested information. We changed that, came back to council for a second initiation, was submitted back to DPLH. They changed that to amendment 10 because amendment 8 was not withdrawn. Amendment 10 was advertised. We got all these comments. It's now working to the amendment process for council to adopt and then provide back to DPLH for consideration and approval. Very short.
Thank you, Mr. Lowe. Chris, I think very good. Thank you. I just need to ask us, you see, the company doing this, they had started discussing putting in solar and wind power and then repairing or reticulating it to the east coast. Is that off the books now, or is that?
Don't know completely. I haven't had detailed discussions with the client yet. I know that it has slowed down somewhat, but they still want the rezone to go.
Yeah, the last discussion that I had with Minister Dawson regarding this was when he visited with GDC, and the proponent was still progressing a project, and they were actually negotiating lease fees for the site. But we are not aware of what is their core business that they're proposing at this.
Yeah. Okay, councillors. Any further discussion? Nothing. With that, councillors, that's adopted unanimously. Mrs. Hill, 7-0. Thank you. Councillors, can we get Councillor Maslin back in the room, please? Councillor Maslin, the motion was put and adopted unanimously.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Councillors, moving right along, item 7.4 infrastructure services. There are no items. Applications for leave of absence. Councillor Kelly, would be right.
Yes, Mr. President. Unfortunately, I would like to be away for a little period of time, that being from the 7th to the 12th tomorrow until the 1st of February 26th. So I'll miss out on the ordinary council meeting in January. And I can't unfortunately attend that electronically either.
I also just to ask and prompt the executive manager of strategic performance asked me to just mention that could you all just have a think about that, because the 26th on the Monday is a public holiday. So if any of you are travelling, this is the opportunity, or you're going to take advantage of that weekend. Then the next day is the council meeting on the 27th. So we just thought we'd prompt you all, but if anybody else needed leave.
I'd like to go and say, I'm gonna move that we accept councillor Kelly's request, councillor Farina, councillor Young, all those in favour. That's adopted unanimously. Enjoy your holiday, councillor Kelly.
Thank you, councillor.
Motions of which previous notice has been given. There are nil questions from members without notice. There are. Councillor Charlie Mason.
Not a question, Mr. President, but I think that it's an opportunity to congratulate the ladies that organised the Christmas street party. A roaring success for the town, probably one of the biggest gatherings in this town for a long time, if not ever. And it was well run, well managed, and they improve every year. And I think that we owe them a debt of gratitude. Thank you.
Thank you, councillor Mason. I was about to do that. And unfortunately, I was unable to attend it, but all I've heard since is absolute positive. So a real congratulations to the staff on a wonderful event.
People will support that.
Well,
Thank
we support, but I know we've had a lot of input into that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Urgent business approved by the presiding member or by decision of council. Nil. Matters for which the meeting will be closed to the public. There is nil. The date of the next meeting, 27th of January, 2026. I've got that line. And with that, councillors, meeting closed. Thank you very much for your.